All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to the May IMACS convening. Thanks for joining. So our agenda today, we'll start with a brief introduction, sharing some news that we've seen. And if you have any publications or reports that you'd like to share during that time, please feel free. And then we'll have a quick warm-up question as we get started in this meeting. Then our standing agenda item, announcements on any funding and submission opportunities, as well as some upcoming events that you can find some of our IMACS and Forecasting Healthy Futures team members at. And then the key part of our meeting today will be the presentation by Rishab, our principal data scientist, on the Malaria Early Warning System Survey. We have some preliminary analysis and findings. And then we'll have most of the time dedicated to discussion on the survey results, what questions you may have on the report, and then any challenges that were highlighted in the analysis as well. All right, so starting with a few articles in the news, I'll start with the report from the World Meteorological Organization on their global annual update. And we've seen some reports and articles quote the recent findings here on global temperatures set to reach new records in the next 5 years. The report is saying that there won't be, hopefully, a permanent rise above the 1.5 degrees Celsius, but foreseeing that there will likely be exceeding the 1.5 degrees Celsius in the next 5 years. At least one of those 5 years will see the world exceeding the 1.5 degrees. So that is kind of scary news for the climate community and as well as the health community. As we see also that more nations are starting to include health in their climate change plans. So the national determined contributions that the climate community, so each country has their own nationally determined contributions for determining their climate emissions and carbon emissions and how they're doing on reducing climate change. So more countries are recognizing that this is important to consider the health impact of climate change. And then lastly, a article in Forbes by Peter Sands, the executive director of the Global Fund, kind of warning again that malaria may be the next pandemic, as opposed to another respiratory illness. And we've seen Peter Sands be a great champion for, warning about infectious disease being potentially the next big pandemic due to climate change. Those are the big articles that I tried to highlight from these past few weeks. Are there any other articles, reports, or thoughts on these topics in the news?
Grace?
Hi, Dr. Sergi.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Let me check back. The only thing that yes, I used to use the Oxford scale for the data that we have, and I would be very cautious not to confound between hypothesis, theory, and truth and practical law. And this way, I'm what you mentioned about the 1.5, that is absolutely important, but it's just important to indicate to us and also to everybody as an potential as possibility, but it's not law. I said important is to make sure that we distinguish what is the likeness, the likelihood, the probability that we have, and they distinguish between theory and law and what is substantially present. And the second point that I would have, I agree with you. And malaria has been, and I've seen also in my latitude, also cases imported but present malaria, and this could really be the next pandemic. Just a couple of points that we should do. My 2 cents. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. It definitely is a projection that we will exceed 1.5. I think any incremental increase in temperatures towards the 1.5 is also showing kind of near catastrophic events for some regions of the world. So yeah, definitely just a hypothesis and projection, but we're already seeing the damages. So there's some trade-offs there and understanding what those projections mean. All right, so I'm including the links to the articles in the chat, and then we'll go ahead and move on. So I'll start with our warm-up question for everyone here. This is something that I would like everyone to unmute to answer, but if you're unable to, you can also include your response in the chat. So the warm-up question here is, what topic are you learning more about? This can be just something in general and non-academic and unrelated to your professional work. But if it is something related to your work, that's also great. But just wanted to open it up to something beyond, what we're already talking about in this group. So I'm going to go down the participant list on my screen. I'll actually start from the bottom here. So Richard, do you want to start us off by sharing a topic that you're learning more about? Rishabh, if you're speaking, you're muted.
Oh, I thought you were talking to Richard. Okay, so sorry for the confusion. So currently, I'm just trying to using the AI to automate my daily life, using the AI to do all sort of stuff. There are the things that I still learning, like web development and other stuff, and I'm trying to encompass AI. How can I do things to do such things which I am not good at? So that's what I'm currently doing now. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Rishabh. And Richard next.
Hi. Yeah. So I'm just about to join a class immediately after this meeting on digital well-being, avoiding digital burnout, which I don't know much about, but I was enrolled in it by my employer as part of a randomly selected group. So I hope to know more next time.
Very interesting. I'd love to learn more. Next, Prasad.
Hi everyone. Yeah, I'm at the moment interested in developing decision support platform broadly for vector-borne diseases using climate information and contextual information, leveraging those data in different statistical and mathematical models. So that's my interest at present.
Thank you. Very relevant to the group. And Dr. Hosni?
Always I'm learning new things about the health aspect of malaria, mosquitoes, infections. This is completely new for me.
Yeah, and then also very relevant.
From the medical side.
Yeah, to incorporate to all the the projects that you're working on.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Dr. Hosni. Next, Haroon.
Sure. I'm new to the climate health world a bit, so everything seems interesting to me. But really, you know, I want to learn more about mitigation strategies and versus adaptation strategies in the climate change world, climate change and health space. So I'm looking forward to learning more from all of you as well, and getting more up to date on all the current knowledge in the space.
Thanks, Haroon, and welcome again. Haroon is our new director for forecasting healthy futures. All right, next, Kaushik.
Yeah, so I was actually learning something very different, probably not of interest of this group. So in fact, one ECG came this afternoon from a friend for a second opinion, and it was very likely to be a syndrome called Roman-Ward syndrome. So it's a long QT prolongation where you get syncope, and that's kind of congenital genetic abnormalities. But broadly, I think Rishabh and I have been working on attention-based model and a pyramidal structure for quite a few days now. I think for the last 7 to 8 days, we are working on this particular structure of the model, going through all of those details of what can be the different features or different utilities of these structures. So I think that is probably more relevant to the group. And what we are trying to achieve is this particular model has not been used ever in early warning system, but it has been used in time series forecasting for in different areas, especially when you don't have high quality data and continuous time series. So we felt that this particular model can be game changing, especially when we deal with real world data related to epidemiological data and climate data. When we are integrating, it may not match every time. So these attention-based models are really interesting on that front.
Thanks, Kaushik. And then lastly, Dr. Sergi.
Hi everyone, I'm very happy to continue being, and supporting Grace and other initiatives for climate change. I'm more than happy to contribute in the setting of pediatric, and I'm here in Ottawa, in Canada, and collaborate with in a few projects as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I believe we had Soo-Young join briefly. Maybe we lost her. All right. I think we can go ahead and move on then. All right, we'll start with announcements here. And I'll share separate screens so that we can go through these together. So some of these are just repeats from previous months, but still open calls. So this is an open call for climate change and health policy case studies through the Inter-Academy Partnership and Save the Children. So they're accepting case studies through the end of this month, and you'll submit them online on their form here. And the selected case studies will be invited to present a full-length case study at the end of 2023, it says. And then all of this will be edited and peer-reviewed for publication. So this is a great opportunity if you have a case study in mind, would like to develop it more. And Save the Children, we were connected with at the Forecasting Healthy Futures Summit, and they're doing a lot of interesting work in the climate and health space. So say keep an eye on them. The next one is the Belmont Forum, Climate and Health. Was it the proposal? And they do have a couple of upcoming events here for workshops and trainings on developing this proposal. They do have stringent requirements here. From the IMACS side, I know that a few of you had reached out about collaborating on this. We're still internally figuring out, who, if we're going to apply for this and how we'd like to organize a consortium, but we'll be reaching out very soon about next steps here. I think the complicated part of this proposal is that your funding comes from specific funding agencies that is eligible based on the country that you're working in. So this is something that you could look into. Their first phase of applications are now open. So, yeah. And then lastly, for folks who are working in Southeast Asia, there's a free climate and health course hosted by Columbia University throughout the month of June. So every Tuesday and Thursday in June, it'll be held 6 to 7:30 p.m. Philippine time. So convenient time zone for the Southeast Asia region. So these courses will be hosted by Planetary and Global Health Program in the Philippines, Healthcare Without Harm Southeast Asia. Their instructors are still to be announced, but I think this would be, excuse me, a great opportunity if you have colleagues in the Southeast Asia region, health workers. I think Richard, you may be the most relevant person here, and then also Prasad. So something to look out for, something to share with your network. All right. And going back to the presentation, a few additional announcements on some upcoming events that Forecasting Healthy Futures and IMACS will be present at. So upcoming next week at the World Health Assembly, we'll have a few members of our team attending there: Kelly, Haroon, Kaushik, and Carrie. So if you're attending, please do let us know. And I know that most of the kind of access to the Pally requires a badge. But if you are attending and would like to network at some point that week, let us know. It'd be great to meet folks in person. The next event, the AGU Chapman Conference on Climate and Health in DC from June 12th to 15th. I will be attending along with Kelly on behalf of IMACS. And so if you have a presentation there, we would love to connect as well. And lastly, the Sustainability Research and Innovation Congress in Panama City. Bill Pan, one of our scientific advisory board members, will be attending in person, and we'll have one other person join from the IMACS team. And we'll have a panel of experts from the IMACS network. Richard, you're also on that panel, as well as Tatiana Laboda, James Goldburn, and then Kaushik. So that will be our upcoming presence for the next month or so. And then if you are also attending any other conferences or events, we'd love to know. And if you have any publications or posters that come out of that event, it'd be great to share with this group as well. All right, and then at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Rishabh to lead us through the analysis and findings of the Malaria Early Warning System Survey. Rishabh, do you want to go ahead and share your screen?
Sure, thank you. Let me share my screen. So is it visible?
Yes, I can see it.
So hello everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening. I am Rishabh Dev, and today I will be presenting the analysis of the Malaria Early Warning System Survey report. I have prepared a brief presentation to summarize the key questions, findings, and next steps. Let's dive into the details and start with the key questions covered in the survey. So we have identified 3 key agents that significantly contribute to the development of Malaria Early Warning System, or MEWS in short, in any given region. These agents include researchers, implementers, and policymakers. In order to effectively target these agents and gain a comprehensive understanding of the MEWS system landscape worldwide, this is the Venn diagram that we have devised to illustrate the intersection between them agents effectively. With the MEWS survey, we have formulated a set of interrelated questions that will enable us to gather a holistic perspective on MEWS systems globally. This approach will facilitate our efforts in comprehending the intricate requirements of the MEWS implementation across the various regions. Talking about the questions at the intersection of the researchers and policymakers, we have something like what are the most promising research findings or advancement in malaria surveillance and prediction that policymakers should consider when developing an early warning system? Or how can researchers assist policymakers in understanding the potential impact and feasibility of implementation of the early warning system within the existing healthcare systems? On the intersection of implementers and policymakers, we can ask how can policymakers provide necessary resources, fundings for long-term sustainability of the early warning system, or mechanism for communication and dissemination of the early warning alerts to healthcare providers, communities, and relevant stakeholders. On the intersection of researchers and implementers, we have something like what specific data collection methods and tools should implementers use to provide researchers with high quality data for the early warning system. With the key questions in mind, let me show you the early warning system being active throughout the globe. So we present a global map showcasing the malaria early warning system that we have received and scoped. These systems fall into several distinct categories. First, we have the continent level MEWS, such as LISMAL, MARALITE, and OMAWA. These systems operate on a broader scale, covering entire continents and providing comprehensive malaria monitoring and warning capabilities. Secondly, we have single systems deployed across multiple countries, such as NASA MEWS. This indicates a high level of adaptability and flexibility in the system, allowing it to cater to various country-specific requirements and contexts. Furthermore, some countries have multiple MEWS in place, like SLIM, Vectri, and Open Malaria. In India, we have MPPT and Liverpool Malaria Model. It suggests a diverse geographical landscape where different regions within the same country may require tailored warning systems due to varying malaria risk factors. Lastly, we encounter instances of single MEWS deployed within individual countries like Hydramats, Anospecs, Disarm, Vectri, providing localized monitoring and early warning is specifically designed for the unique circumstances of that particular nation. Getting the overall scope, let's jump into the details and overview of the survey. We have successfully engaged with scientists from over 47 different countries. We have received a total of 32 submissions and scoped over 7,000 research articles. Through this extensive collaboration, we have compiled a comprehensive list of 24 MEWS indicating their operational presence in various locations. Now let's delve into the technical breakdown of these MEWS systems. First, we have classified into the three categories: the advanced, intermediate, and basic, based on the level of monitoring capabilities and the channels used to communicate alerts to the end users. Advanced MEWS systems entail real-time monitoring facilities by digital data collection tools, coupled with immediate communication through digital dashboards and mobile applications. On the other hand, basic MEWS rely on the pen and paper-based methods and conventional communication channels. Intermediate systems fall in between the two extremes, and notably, we have received submission indicating that 54% of the MEWS systems belong to the advanced category, indicating a significant progress in adopting cutting-edge technologies for real-time monitoring and communication. Furthermore, when considering ownership of the early warning system, we find that 46% of the systems are government-owned, and moreover, approximately 50% of the end users who receive the alerts are government entities themselves. This highlights a significant level of government involvement and control over the MEWS infrastructure. Additionally, it is worth noting that 50% of the MEWS systems focus specifically on rural areas, indicating a strong emphasis on extending early warning system capabilities to this predominantly rural areas. Overall, these statistics illustrate a positive trend where government holds substantial ownership and control over the MEWS system, with a particular focus on serving rural populations. This signifies a proactive approach in leveraging technology and empowering authorities to effectively address and mitigate potential risks in its vulnerable areas. Now let's jump into the survey findings. So on the left side of the map, we have observed a set of numbers that are some concerning. For instance, we have 9% of the AWS survey have real-time dashboards, while 14% offer real-time notification. This presents a significant issue as it disrupts the flow of information within the system. The root cause of this problem lies in the fact that many systems have not embraced the current technologies, thus missing out the potential of such as web-based tools to enhance and empower their operations. However, there are positive aspects to consider as well. More than 2/3 of the system implemented data validation and maintained uniform data quality standards. This is a promising step as it sets the foundation for leveraging AI and machine learning algorithms, which rely on huge data sets. Consequently, we have anticipated the emergence of AI-powered models with the advance of these huge data sets that will contribute to the advancement of AWS systems globally. Additionally, AWS models are incorporating a wide range of parameters spanning from climate factors to demographic variables, thereby providing a considerably flexible and adaptable system. Furthermore, the map reveals that only a fraction of the systems have embraced AI-enabled technologies, and still measuring of them lie on the conventional approaches like time series analysis, SARIMA models, and tree-based models. This raises a concern about the pace of the development within the AWS domain and their readiness to adopt and leverage newest technologies effectively. On the right-hand side, we have map with the 3 pie charts. The first pie chart illustrates the distribution of deployment scales, with national indicating the systems deployed at country level. The subnational refer to the system deployed at the state or province level. The regional encompasses the areas that share the common geographical or economical characteristics regardless of the political boundaries. Lastly, the local represents the nodal level. It is notable that a significant portion of the systems falls under the national and subnational categories, indicating the substantial government support for these initiatives. Additionally, most of these systems are designed to cover population exceeding 1 million. However, there is a concern regarding the data security policies, and only a small fraction of the respondents have demonstrated the awareness of the data interoperability and sharing guidelines. To address this issue, it may be beneficial to conduct a communication and outreach efforts such as workshops to foster great understanding and adherence to the data security protocols. Moving next to challenges. So on a broader scale, it is concerning to note that 40% of the AWS systems have reported encountering some form of difficulty or resistance. What is even more striking that over 90% of the systems have faced implementation issues, even after being deemed ready for the deployment. Given that close to 50% of the systems are government-owned, this raises the question about the evaluation processes employed during the adoption of such systems. The primary challenge faced by 90% of the system is the lack of understanding regarding the importance and functionality of the early warning system. This is especially evident in cases where conventional systems are still in use. To address these issues, organizing capacity building workshops or establishing effective communication channel may significantly improve the situation and pave the way for new innovations. Data-related issues have affected 70% of the systems, encompassing challenges related to data sharing, data availability, data quality, and overall data awareness. It is crucial to recognize that without a robust and comprehensive data set, the scope for development for application of current technology remains limited. Lack of adoption and interdepartmental coordination also poses concern for approximately 20 to 30% of the system. The successful operation of AWS requires harmonious collaboration among multiple partners, including health, climate, and human affairs. However, achieving seamless coordination does not always align with the initial expectation and leading to operational challenges. Regarding the enablers for the AWS system, the high cost associated with the acquiring the high-end machine for adoption of new age systems have been identified as a significant barrier. Additionally, demonstrating the evidence of effectiveness for the systems require a substantial amount of time to gather evidence. In the current scenario, the demand for advanced intelligence system incorporating technologies such as AI, machine learning, chatbot, blockchains, and cloud technology is prevalent across the various domains. Without the integration of these technologies, there is a limited buy-in for for the development and adoption of such MEWS systems. Lastly, the commitment to supporting other government programs poses a significant challenge, as accurately assessing the situation before making commitment can be very difficult. Moving to what we have ahead. We are currently planning to roll out the second part of the survey, which will primarily focus on technical aspects of the model and system development. This phase will delve deeper into the understanding the methodologies employed and specific parameter utilized during the development process. Moreover, we aim to incorporate role-specific questions to target subject matter experts and gather their valuable insights. We will also carefully consider the feedback received during the phase and incorporate into the future iteration to enhance the survey's effectiveness. In addition to the survey, we actively engage in workshops and communication initiative to broaden our reach and improve the data awareness. These efforts help us establish the effective channels for data exchange, promote model development, and establish clear guidelines for the future advancements. I am pleased to share that recently we conducted the successful AI Beyond Early Warning workshop at the FHF Summit in the month of March this year. In this event, we engaged in collaborative discussions on various early warning system paradigms and also explored what lies ahead. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishabh. A lot of information, a lot of valuable information there from the survey. In the chat, I'm just going to put in 2 questions that can help us in this discussion. And Rishabh, I'll have you keep sharing your screen, since we'll probably refer to some of the information that you shared. So just 2 questions here. What questions do you have about the report findings? Any feedback you have on any of the findings or results that you saw that Rishabh had shared? And then next, which challenge would you find to be most impactful to address? And how would you address this challenge? So maybe going back 2 slides to the challenges, that might be most helpful to reference.
Yes. So about the challenges part, I think the most impactful to address would be the data part, because it's the basic block that will enable us to build a whole system, and also the data and the system buy-in. Even if you create a world-class system and if there is no buy-in, there is no effectiveness of that particular system, the system. So buy-in and the data quality, the overall data architecture that we get from the government or from the ground is quite important. And about the questions about the report finding, there are quite a questions. Some of them are contradicting, some of them are in other phase. Like I have addressed one of the questions that even if the ownership of the MEWS system is owned by 46% of the government, still the acceptance rate is very high. The 91% of face the implementation issues even when their system is ready, and the government is and in the half of the times the adopter is the government. So it's kind of thing that contradicts. If the government is implementing and we are making the things for the national government or the sub-national government, and still we are getting the issues, it's kind of a setback for most of the developments. I think this might clear some questions.
Thanks, Rishabh. And I'll pass it over to anyone else in this group. What other questions do you have about the report findings, and which challenge, in your opinion, in your experience, would be most impactful to address, and how would you address that challenge? Richard, your hand is raised.
Yeah, thanks. It'd be really interesting to know more about long-term maintenance of any system. So how long was it actually implemented for, and how long was it maintained, and the challenges for maintaining it? And I'm thinking about dengue, but there's been quite a long history of dengue prediction tools in Southeast Asia, which have not been maintained over a long period, and they've not been used after a couple of years.
Yeah, that's a great point, Richard. In fact, we haven't included all the information that we collected from the survey, but I think you were part of the tool. So you know that information we did collect. And apart from only, I think, 2 or 3 systems, like one in Kenya, I specifically remember from the responses, which is probably the oldest one among the systems which we collected. And then there are a few systems which used, and the Kenyan system is still on. It hasn't shut down, but then there are systems in Myanmar, and then other parts of the world. For example, a few systems are there in Solomon Island. So these systems have not survived, and for varied reasons. So for example, I think I saw a couple of systems where there were no political buy-in, and at the same time, the national level conflicts existed. Those conflicts actually prevented the sustainability of those systems in those countries. So, in fact, only yesterday within the team, we were having a longer discussion on how we present these findings to the largest stakeholder groups, and we decided that we will keep some of the very high-level findings for everyone, but then we will get into a detailed report, utilizing all of those findings that we have gathered through the whole bunch of information that we collected. And for the rest of the group, I think it would be great to know that, the tool that we developed, I think 5 or 6 scientists from the IMACS expert network, they have contributed immense contribution in this tool development. So once this report come out, you will get to know about their contribution, and Richard is one of them. And then we had James and Tatiana. I think Bill Pan was also there in that group. And it was quite a robust tool that we actually developed, which included nearly, I think 4 modules of questions, and all of those questions consisted of maybe a huge number of pages. I mean, probably 100 variables we had while analyzing this entire parameter. But at the same time, which is not has not been disclosed yet, that apart from that particular survey, we also screened, I think, nearly 7,500 literature, and we found quite a few. I don't exactly remember the number, probably 45 or 46 articles we found on the early warning systems. So all of those articles, we have a full text review and inclusion of the information within this article. So I took the liberty of informing the methodology a little more while answering your question, Richard, but that was a great question, and probably we should include that information as well.
Right, really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Kaushik. Any other questions on this? And then maybe some ideas on how to address some of these challenges here.
Yeah, Kaushik and all, and thank you very much for the presentation, and it's really interesting. So what do you think? I mean, it is, we know that it is the most important early warning system is the system that is being used by the end users. So how can we improve the adaptability and acceptability of these systems for the people who intend to use them? So do you have any suggestions, or what kind of process that you are in at the moment to improve this utilization of these warning systems?
Yeah, that's a nice question. In fact, in the main report that we will share with you, we do have an insight on that, on both ends. So on the best practices side, and also on the side of enablers and barriers. So the first thing related to what enabled or the acceptability of the government was this particular element where there was a high level buy-in for the for innovation. There the acceptability of the system was more, but one number is not shown here, which is a striking number that we found in the report, that while you see that these government data ownership existed for nearly 50% of these MEWS systems, when it came to government adoption of the system at the national level, it was only 15%. So we probably found 1 or 2 systems that had the acceptability of the national government in terms of the ownership. And in others, we found that there are still discussion going on in a few countries, the discussion has already concluded and the government has rejected those systems. And the reason why those rejections came were primarily because of the lack of understanding. So the researchers expressed their opinion that the government or the people with whom they interacted, there was lack of understanding of the importance of the MAWS, lack of data literacy, and also lack of systemic ability to adopt that kind of system given the infrastructure that existed within the country. So I think there were one instance in one of the papers where it was clearly mentioned that while that system was pretty advanced in terms of the model that they used, the feasibility of installing that system in nationwide, especially given the structure of the data, that particular system was not feasible to be implemented in that particular country. So from that perspective, we found that regional systems, for example, there are, I think, 3 systems which have been used regionally in Africa, and also one system like the MAWS system, which is led by Professor Bill Pan in the IMACS network in Peru, Honduras, Brazil, and a few other countries there. So those 2 systems are fairly doing well. And what we understood from those systems is, these systems are using less advanced methodologies. They are well equipped to deal with data which come from real world. So easier to understand by the policymakers or program managers, the output of those systems. In fact, the systems which are used regionally in Africa and have been originally developed in Kenya, so that system is pretty straightforward, very simple, using mechanistic model, not getting into statistical or high-end models. But that is at the cost of accuracy or precision of these models that we are getting. So there is a kind of need at this point of time which needs to be built around the perspective that we need high accuracy early warning system. The data quality, data literacy aspect need to be strengthened. So kind of a regional capacity building initiative, they are very critical at this point of time.
Thank you so much, Kaushik. That makes sense. Yeah.
And Prasad, just to ask you a question, from your experience working in Sri Lanka, are there any of these kind of technical barriers or challenges that you see relevant to your work? Maybe not just in early warning systems, maybe in early warning systems. What kind of enablers or barriers do you see that you've experienced?
Yes, I think Sri Lanka has a very good foundational data handling system, but the important lacking is that there is no, mechanism to, develop into an early warning system. So then it's a major problem is dengue, but we don't have malaria anymore. But that's to add to what has been done and said here up to now. It's a kind of matter of decision making over, intervention. So it is kind of we need to convince the policymakers that the economic and other health benefit of this installation of the early warning system in the country. So it's kind of a different dialogue that we have to, break the silos with different departments and then address the health needs of the country, and then how to, convince them that the system is capable of targeting the most vulnerable populations that in par with the WHO concerns of the achieving 2030 NTD goals. So that kind of a policy framework that cutting across many sections. So then it is a matter of integrating different stakeholders. So that mechanism still has not been very established. So that is one major barrier. And also that understanding and then the accountability and the willingness to share the capacities and the data and the developing our own system, it still is not within the purview of the most of the managers at the level. So the country is, I'm not particularly talking about anything in Sri Lanka, but the country's similar context is now moving towards this kind of innovative technology. So as a scientist, what we have to do is, it's a matter of developing the system with the own stakeholders as well in the user perspective. So what we have to, what I'm suggesting is that from the very beginning, we have to work with the country level people, and then we have to involve them in the process of developing such a warning system, because expert knowledge is very important. So that is the approach what I'm kind of suggesting and planning. Yeah.
Yeah, great points there. You know, like co-ownership, co-creation, trainings. Yeah, great points. Any other questions or any other discussion points from this group? Right, Kaushik and Rashab, any kind of final closing words on the survey or any final thoughts, interesting points that you want to share in our last 10 minutes here?
Yeah, so first of all, I would like to thank the entire expert network, especially those who immensely contributed to this. I believe that the report of the survey provides us a direction where we need to work together in strengthening the capacities and advancing these types of systems. Probably it also opens a lot of questions in terms of how we solve the challenges. And for that, probably we need to sit together and brainstorm some of the strategies that we can roll out in certain regions of Asia, Africa, and South America. So that can be the next step. In fact, internally also, we are brainstorming for some time regarding a workshop, how we can achieve this. And one of the good example is definitely the AI Beyond Early Warning System workshop that we did around COP28. In fact, the participation was fantastic. The insights came very well. I think that should not be the end of the road. We should move forward, plan for these types of sessions, but also another important part is creating a broader awareness about these challenges, because as malaria early warning system or any early warning system scientist, I think we all understand bits and pieces of these challenges. At least we grossly, if we don't know the exact aggregate numbers that are of the statistics out there, we have a broad understanding of what challenges exist. But we feel that these challenges are not getting communicated to the broader stakeholder community who are actually on ground working on these things. I mean, the national program people, the people on the donor side, where they need to invest on these kind of solutions, and at the same time, the implementers whose buy-in we need for implementing this type of system in a sustainable way. So all of these need to be bucketed in specific categories and then need to be solved. And I believe this is the group that can solve this problem together. So both on at the front of advocacy, there is a huge need of Kalindos point out very clearly that what we need from which particular target audience. And then the second part is also providing all of those audiences specific solutions that or specific action elements that they should be taking care of within their action areas or within their authorities. So that can be very critical going forward, advancing the science and technology, but also integrating these types of systems within the national health programs to solve real world problem, not just advancing the science and technology part of EWS going forward. So that would be my suggestion. But I want to get into the details of these more. If you have any questions, would be happy to answer. And we are also planning to share a longer version of this with the entire group anyway. So Grace would be coordinating with all of you on that front. But before we close, Grace, I think we are very excited about Harun joining the entire FHF team. So I would love to have Harun, if you can, talk about yourself a little bit, introduce yourself to the group and your, the width of your experience that we have at this point of time. And that we are really excited about your participation and your leadership in the FHA program. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be a part of the team, and being able to kind of lead the Forecasting for Health Healthy Futures program and moving it forward. Already, and looking forward to working with you as well, Kaushik and Prasad and everybody else here on the call. My background has been primarily focused on health system strengthening in African countries context. I've worked in maybe 25 of the 54 countries within the sub-Saharan African continent, working for various agencies like USAID, CDC, and others. I've done consultancies with WHO, Elimination Aid Secretariat in Namibia as well. That was focused on malaria eradication in the SADC region. Yeah, so I've done a lot of different things. This is my fourth day at Malaria No More. So a lot of information I've been gathering and learning. So I plan on applying a lot of this knowledge that I'm learning this week and into the work that we're going to do moving forward. Yeah, so, but yeah, just a lot of different things on my mind right now to kind of get focused and prioritize in terms of what we want to do, moving even the expert network forward for IMACS and the Forecasting for Healthy Futures program.
Thank you,
you so-
Haroon.
Over to you, Grace. Thank you.
Thanks, Kaushik. And thank you everyone for the discussion today. I think it was a great way to kind of start our own response to the survey and maybe fine tune some elements as well. I'll make sure to share all of the links and the presentation after the call. And we are hoping to have a little bit more of a lively audience on Hilo, our platform. So if we want to continue the discussion there, and in the meantime, before our next convening in June, that's the place to do it. So I'll see you all on the platform or at the next meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Grace. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.